Hey guys, it's Miss Silva. I'm going to be going over about 10 problems to help you with your assignment on solving equations. Hopefully it'll help you get started if you were either absent or you missed some of the notes. All right, so for the first one, we're going to be looking for k. So it's 9 times k is equal to 54. First thing you want to do is identify what variable that we're looking for and put that line down the equal sign. Because it's k, our goal is to get k by itself. So in order for us to do that, we want to see what's keeping us from having k by itself, and in this case, it's that 9. So you want to ask yourself, what is happening between the 9 and the k? Because they're together, they're attached, with nothing in between them, that means they're being multiplied. So we want to look for, so we want to do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. And because we're trying to get rid of that 9, we're going to divide by 9. And what we do to one side, we always have to do to the other side. So in this case, 9 divided by 9 is 1, which gives us that 1k. But remember, we don't have to write that one, it's understood. And then 54 divided by 9 is 6. So k is equal to 6. Now, if we want to check our answer, we do 9 times whatever we got for k, which is 6, and 9 times 6 is 54. Let's look at the next one. Again, let's start with putting our line down the middle, identifying what variable we're looking for, and that's n. So we're going to start with n is equal to, and then the number that's keeping us from having n by itself is that 6, and it is attached to that n by division. So we're dividing by 6. So to undo that division, we have to do its inverse, which is multiply. So we're going to multiply by 6 to one side. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So 6 times 3 is 18, and then 6 divided by 6 is that 1, but again, we never put it down. So n is equal to 18, or you can also see it as written as n is equal to 18. They're the same thing. Let's look at the next one. Put the line down the equal sign. Look for the variable that we're solving for. In this case, it's p. So let's start with p equals. That negative 14 is what's keeping us from having that p by itself. So we're going to be adding 14 because the inverse of subtraction is addition. This gives us 0. And then we get negative 27 plus 4. Remember, if your signs are different, then we find the difference, which is subtraction. So we subtract both values, we get 13, and we keep the sign of the larger number, and the larger number is 27. And now we have negative 13 is equal to p, or again, p is equal to negative 13. Go on to the next one, put down the line down the middle. We have, we're looking for n. So that's our goal, to get n by itself. Notice how here we have two numbers that are keeping us from having that n by itself. The first thing we can get rid of is that minus sign. So you always do plus and minus first. So because we're subtracting 5, we want to do the inverse, which means we are adding 5. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. And then we write our new equation. This gives us 0. We get nn, 8n is equal to 100, and we're adding 44. And then we go on to the way this first problem was. So here we still want to get this n by itself. It's attached to that 8 by multiplication, so we want to do the inverse, which is divide. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. This gives us that 1n that we're looking for. And then 144 divided by 8 is 18. Let's go on to the next one. Notice how we have parentheses in this one. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of the parentheses. Negative 4 times x, and that gives us negative 4x, and then negative 4 times negative 4, that gives us a positive 16. The right side, there's really nothing left, So then now this equation looks like this one. And the first thing we want to remove is whatever's being added or subtracted. See what that x is. We're adding 16, so we want to do the opposite, which is subtract. This gives us 0. Then we get our new equation. Negative 4x is equal to negative 60. And then that negative 4 is multiplied by that x by multiplication. So we want to do the inverse, which is divide. And we get, and we're going to divide negative 60 divided by negative 4 is positive 15. Let's go to the next one. This one was like a problem on your quiz. All right, so if you notice that n is being added to that 7, let's put our line down, and then it's being divided by 6. But notice how the whole thing is being divided by 6. So the first thing we want to get rid of is that division by 6. So let's go ahead and multiply by 6. And then we end up canceling the 6's there. We have 7 plus n equals, and then 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. We still don't have that n by itself. So we're going to subtract 7. And we get n is equal to, remember we have to do it on both sides, negative 13. Let's go on to the next.